I'm Dave Williams. I was previously of Dale Robertson, the Jaywalkers, up to 62, and followed by Group 1, who appeared on the black and white Beatles documentary, The Mersey Sound, in 63. And we used to play here, both groups played here in the early days, I think originally about 63. I've still got an original Iron Door club card with me. My mate's bag. Do you want me to show you?
Oh, yes,
hang on a second. Dave? This is a second generation Beatle fan.
Mersey Beat fan.
Mersey Beat fan. Knows more about the Mersey Beat days than we do ourselves. Can you show this gentleman my original club card? Well,
let's get a close up on that.
I'll just open it up for you, man. This is myself inside. 463. That's yours, truly, mate. That's Group 1.
Who's you again, sorry?
That was me, the second one.
Yeah.
That was Keith Stokes, who was the original singer with the Remo 4. And that's Harry Brithick, who was here today, who was the original drummer with the Remo 4. And over on bass was Eric London, who used to be bass player with Farron's Flamingos.
Who's also here.
Well, I am king size, so there's nothing shorter than that, yeah.
And could you just tell us why you're here today, Mullanou?
Well, basically it's Jeff Hogarth, who is over there. He was actually the first, this was actually the first rock and roll venue in town, which was, everybody always says it's the Cavern, and the minute you say rock and roll Beatles or anybody else, the first thing they think about is the Cavern, which isn't true, because this is where we all played before the Cavern had rock and roll on, And it's just great. It's great to see somebody like Jeff, who gave us all a chance, being honoured in this way, really, Well, the all-nighters were phenomenal. They really were. They were just unbelievable. You start at 8 in the evening. Not that we started at 8, because most of the bands then would be playing somewhere else. And then they'd come here in between other gigs. The particular night, one night we played here, this was the 4th gig we'd done. And we always used to play 7 till 8 in the morning. Because Sammy Leach used to say that King Size Sail and the Dominoes were the only band that could keep the crowd here till that time,
I've actually found myself getting involved with all these people from the 60s. They're trying to revive the rock and roll of the 60s, and the Merseyside heritage there. The sounds of the 60s and Mersey Cats have started to run a few jam nights. There's a few bands on the go. There's a few how can I describe it, events that they're operating, and this is one of them, and I feel honoured that they've actually asked me to pop along and just be present.
My name's Roz. I used to go to the Iron Door Club and saw the Chance and various people like that, Freddie Starr, many other people really.
Come along and see the unveiling of the plaque.
And did you ever go to the Iron Door?
No.
No.
A little bit too young. Just to see the plaque unveiled.
Okay, how did you hear about it today?
I read it in the paper, in the local paper.
Well, it's 3:30, and thanks for all coming along. I'd like to take you back to 1959, a long time ago. I'd been playing in the Swing Blue Jeans in the Cavern for 3 years, and then I got called up, National Service. I went and done my training in Oswestry Camp, and then I come back and I was dressed in my army gear. I was a recruit, everything didn't fit me, and I'm walking down Matthew Street looking for people that I knew, and I bumped into Jeff Hogarth. Where is he? The man with that, Mr. Iron Door, Jeff Hogarth. And I bumped into Jeff and he said, I've just bought a new club. I said, great. He said, do you want to see it? Marvellous. So we walked along up Temple Street. There's a big iron door. Gets the keys out, opens up, and he says, this lift here, that's all coming out. This is going to be down below, is going to be where the groups are going to play. This is going to be the coffee bar. This is going to be this, and then upstairs I'm having a luxury flat. So I said, great. He said, how long are you home from the army? I said, well, I'm off for a week. So he said, well, we're starting work on it tomorrow. He said, would you like to come down and give us a hand? So I was skint, you know, in the army like. So I said, how much are you paying? He said, well, we've got plenty of tea. So I didn't bother. Well, there's a few people I'd like to mention who are probably here in spirit with us. That's Chris Curtis, Rory Stone, Ty Bryan, Johnny Guitar, Steve Day, Paddy Chambers, Colin Manley, Mushy Cooper, Tex Carson, Eddie Parry, Lance Rolton, Richie Galvin, and Bruce McCaskill, who was the man who started the Swinging Blue Jeans and the Kansas City Five and the Average White Band. These are all people that played here and made the Mersey sound.
Son, here we go. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Great. Come on, Jeff. A little thank you, Jeff. Oh, he's run away again.
Well, somebody always talking about the way she walks. Somebody's always talking about the way she talks. Somebody always thinking of something smart to say. Somebody always trying to take my baby away. Somebody always telling her she looks so fine. Somebody always trying to make her change her mind. Somebody always.
I'm proud of my brother. Why?
Sam Leach. Sam Leach is my brother-in-law.
All right.
Sam was, well, Sam used to bring all bands here. They did, all-night sessions with Jeff and all that. So he's very good. Sam and Jeff, and they will obviously all belong to the 60s. You see, Joe Flannery, who's here now. You see Lee Curtis. That's Joe. Lee Curtis is Joe's brother. So and King Size. So they all belong to that sort of. And there's of course a lot missing.
Thank you.
The Undertaker. Can't remember anymore.
Most of the ones in podcast name.
Yeah. Rory Stone. I can't remember.
This is Mr. John Booker, who knows masses about masses about the early days of
the original days
of the Liverpool rock scene.
And how did it all originate?
Well, it goes back a long, long time.
Well, I was the manager of a group called the Zodiacs, which later became In the Zodiacs. And I can't say too much because Mr. Hogan's there.
I used to like Ian in the Zodiac. Nobody else did. Coming down the aisle. I had a wiggle of belief.
Who was Ian?
Ian Edwards. And King Size.
Hello. And King Size Taylor. Little Mr. King Size Taylor here. I know, but I ran across this young man here. It's fascinating stuff.
Blue
marker
for a man called Brian Kelly.
Him of the sound equipment. Would you agree, Mr. Taylor?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
BK Promotions.
Now, where should that
Alpha Sound it was.
Where should that
I was just saying, Teddy, where should it be? Would it be Latham Hall or Liverpool Town Hall?
Latham Hall.
I would think Latham.
Is Latham Hall
Latham was his first place,
And
yeah?
it's intact.
It's a beautiful place.
Totally intact.
And who runs that, Mr. Taylor?
It's privately owned. It's actually privately owned by the people who run it.
Yeah.
Right. Latham Hall.
Well, that's where Brian Kelly first started.
Right.
Well, I won't say first started because he was supplying all the bands with
sound equipment.
Amps.
Well, you got 2 mics, you got 2 speakers, and you got a Vitexi amp.
And that's it?
And that's all we used to go out with.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
And then afterwards...
It's the first place the Beatles were ever thrown. I don't mean thrown.
No.
But that's where they first played.
It was the first gig, it was at Latham Hall, and they turned up with no drummer. And Cliff Roberts.
Was it Cliff?
Yeah, Cliff Roberts stood in for them, my drummer.
Cliff Roberts is the name I don't know.
Yeah. Cliff Roberts stood in for him. Got through about 3 numbers and they just asked us to go back on again.
Well, the Zodiacs swapped drummers with, because you got Dave Lovelady and Cliff joined the Zodiacs.
Right.
So that's
great.
There was quite a bit of
There were 3 little kiddies here and 2 delightful ladies, and it's worked the right way around for me. The kids have gone, but the ladies have stayed.
Well, I'm a heart for you, baby. Are you going to speak to me, or can we just rabbit away?
Rabbit away.
Rabbit away.
Are we rabbiting now? Are we already on and rabbiting?
Yeah.
That's alright.
What happened at the time in Liverpool, it was all traditional jazz.
I was there then.
It was traditional jazz, yeah, but I was playing in a skipper group called the Swinging Blue Jeans, and I used to play the banjo. And used to get bands like Ackerbilk, Terry Lightfoot, and the Swinging Blue Jeans.
I was there then.
And all the time it was the Blue Jeans, and at the time, outside Liverpool, there was places like Littleton Town Hall, Latham Hall, Wilson Hall, that they were all playing rock and roll. Now you were more there.
Most kids who had the feeling for anything, when the mums used to say, what do you want? They wanted guitars. They wanted to emulate people, you know, like Buddy Holly and Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry and people like this, you know, and Jenny Lee Lewis and everything. And the thing about it was that mums bought them guitars and things, and they went out and really put themselves in hock for these kids, get down to Hesse's, you know, and everything. Buying, you know, so much a week on the HP and the Never Never. Alan, you've got the red coat on. You've not got another job in Butlins, have you? You're looking well, old kid. It's a get there.
You've heard of the man in the Iron Mask? He's the man in the Iron Door.
Mr. Jeff Hogarth.
On a heart smile, my all, my everything, my heart I can't control. You rule my every soul, my only prayer.
Playing at the Iron Door was, well, you see, the difficulty in Liverpool was there was a band and a band and a band. There was about 3 or 4 of them, and they were like the gods, and they were the top liners and everything else. And you found yourself playing at the Iron Door with the Beatles, and all you were was a support band and the Beatles going on, and that's all they were waiting for. You had to work your bloody socks off to get some reaction out of the audience, and if you did well. But going to Germany, right? I'll tell you a story now about Germany. I'll tell you a little story. You're gonna tell. Well, I can do that one as well. But that is the difference between, you know, really being accepted, not accepted. That was Germany. If you were good, it didn't matter if you walked on in a pair of tatty old jeans and the arse hanging out of your trousers, excuse me, but, you know, if you were good, if you could cut it, you were great, and that was it. But if you went out in all sequence and thought that was going to make you a star, it didn't.
Was it harder to please an audience in Hamburg than it was in Liverpool?
No, once you'd broke them, once you'd got them, once they were on your side, they stayed with you.
Where were you more scared to perform, Hamburg or the Iron Tour? That's my last question.
In my day, I had much more success in Germany.
We are the Tailor Maids. Come on, birds, join in.
I'm Angie.
I'm Madeleine.
And I'm Margot.
I
probably the only one here that remembers the Angel. I started going when I was 14. Very, very naughty. I used to stay out all night on many a night. Had many a laugh. It was when the Kansas City Five used to play there, and I can vividly remember a time they got the piano down the stairs purposely for a jazz band coming. I must have been about 15 then, and I've known Jeff Hogarth since I was 14, and I'm not telling you how old I am now. I've got so many fond memories of the Iron Door. For me, it was the only club.
Is there any rivalry between you and the Blues?
No. They're made up. They are absolutely made up.
Don't forget, they don't get the cooked chicken if they don't support.
And I don't cook them any German meals if they don't behave. I am German. I'm from Hamburg. And yeah, that's it.
So you from Hamburg? Is
Yeah.
that partly to do because the whole 60s thing that happened?
Yeah, well, that's a long story. It's been all over the newspaper that I met Ted 40 years later again, and now we are married. We were going out in 62, and then the Saar Club in Hamburg had a 40th anniversary, and we met again, and now we are married.
Okay, the name's Eric London, bass guitarist with the Mojos. Nick and I have known each other since we were 4 years of age, first day at school, and musically we've virtually followed each other since then. It started off at St John's Church in Walton, Orrell Park, and we were in the Scout band, and I played the bass drum, and Nick was on the snare drum at the time, and skiffle was just, Lonnie Donegan had just hit the headlines, and Nick, being the proactive one, I'm the reactive one. Nick says, I've got a guitar, you'll have to get yourself a T-chest bass because you play the bass drum. And it started from that. So we started as the High Cats.
The High Cats, yeah. My name's Nicky Crouch. I used to play with the Mojos, and prior to that with Fellow Flamingos, and then prior to that with the High Cats as the skiffle bands Eric's just said. Strangely enough, everything's come full circle because we were talking about starting with skiffle with Lonnie Donegan version on the scene, and one of the characters in those days was a guy called Chas McDevitt. The whole thing about this strange thing that we've been doing all our lives is that things have come full circle. We started off as a skiffle band and listening to fantastic musicians like Chuck Berry and Gene Vincent, Little Richard, Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis and all those. And we never dreamed that we'd actually meet these people. And when over the years we've had the opportunity to actually meet these people.
Thank you very much. Sorry man, I keep pulling my pants up. My wife's got me on Slim Fast. It's great on toast, I tell you. So no, Margaret, yes. It's the liquor that's filled to the back of the bullet.
You get dance in Germany, it starts, you know, you turn around and say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now, you know, liebe Freunde, das Zeit ist jetzt, ich muss meinen letzten Schluck bringen, you know, I have to bring my last song. Und das ist ein schönes Abend, das wir zusammen hatten. Ich hoffe, dass du bist mit uns zufrieden. And that is to say, it's been a wonderful night. We really, really hope that you're happy with us. We've got one more song. And we're going to say goodnight, God bless you. And you do the song, and then you finish, and as you're taking your back, and all of a sudden it just starts, and it goes, Sugabe, Sugabe.
Yeah, I mean, it was the very first, no matter what anybody says, it was the very first venue in Liverpool to dedicate itself to rock and roll. Perhaps not to have rock and roll, but city centre-wise, and you mentioned, I think I said this maybe to you before, the fact that you mentioned rock and roll, Liverpool, everybody's mind originally, they automatically turned to Beatles and Cavern, and that's not true. I mean, in 1960 I was actually thrown off the Cavern for playing rock and roll. Just one of those things. They had no faith in rock and roll at Cavern at all. When I played on the Iron Door, I was 21, I'm now 65, coming up 66, and I'm still performing, and there's a lot of people of my age, and not just my age, but Tommy Hughes, Nicky Crouch, all the early 60s bands that are still getting up there and wowing crowds, you know.
Would you be recognised in the street?
Oh yeah. I mean, being the size I was then, I was 23, 24 stone then, you know, and 6'5½". So obviously you would get recognised even if you're only saying, look at that fat bastard over there or something, you know.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. You can dance, every dance you can dance, you can dance, you can dance, you can smile, you can dance.
My Yiddish mama, I miss you more than ever now. My Yiddish,
every smile you can dance, who held your hands, the pale moonlight.
That was lovely.
Mama.